What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. This is Acidlite. We're going to talk about some of these Lidia changes for the most recent patch. I'm sorry. I'm laughing because I'm looking at the patch notes right now. Again, obviously it's been out for a while and I'm kind of blown away by some of these changes. Like, they legitimately nerfed Lidia, and Lidia was not OP to me at all. I don't even think she was top 5, probably not even top 7. That's just my opinion though. And I never had any problems fighting her. I mean, I'm not like JDCR or Knee, but typically online, I would say I range from playing people Divine Ruler all the way up to Tekken God. And I played Lidia's in all of those rank levels and just no problems whatsoever. Now, nobody uses her in my locals, so I can't really talk about online, which would be a little bit more important. Did she need tweaks? Yes, I do think she needed tweaks. They could have probably brought down her damage a little bit. Granted, they did that a lot. I don't think they needed to do it that much. Definitely needed some nerfs on her recovery. That was 100% needed. But outside of that, I think a lot of these were a little bit over the top. Again, just my opinion. I'm primarily going to be focusing on the changes to her stances because I just made a how to beat Lidia's guide going over her stance weaknesses. So I do want to talk about that, but I'll quickly go over the other changes as well. So the two big nerfs that I want to talk about, she actually had more than two, but the main two I'm going to talk about is one, they nerfed her race drive, and they nerfed it a good amount. Like, wow. I was really caught off guard when I saw the change in the frame. So it went from plus 27 on block to plus 15 on block. Now, the way Lidia's race drive works is if she lands it on hit, she gets a launcher. If she lands it on block, she's plus 15 now. That's good. There's no arguing that. In comparison terms, Zafina is a good example I want to use as an analogy here. Zafina lands her race drive on hit, she gets a launcher. She lands it on block, she's plus 19 from my memory. She's very plus anyway. The difference is Zafina has access to her entire move list on block, whereas Lidia only has access to her Kappa Stance 1 and then a transition to Heaven and Earth. That's somewhat limited, you know. Now, granted, her Kappa Stance 1 is decent, her Heaven and Earth is very good, but now if she transitions to Heaven and Earth, it's pretty much like her 4.2, being plus 15 on hit into Kappa Stance 1 and then minus 5 into Heaven and Earth. Same thing with her raise drive, which means now you can interrupt everything. So I personally think that, again, her race drive is still good, but I think they should at least cap it to the point where when she goes to Heaven and Earth, it's 0 frames, so it's harder for your opponent to react to. But that's just my opinion. I think that was a pretty big nerf, and I don't think she needs to be nerfed that much for her race drive, if at all. I personally thought her race drive was completely fine, but if they did want to nerf it, I still think it should at least went into Heaven and Earth with 0 frames. The next nerf we're gonna talk about is the 2 attack coming out of her Kappa Stance 1. So if you did 4.2 and went to Kappa Stance 1, this was an uninterruptible mid attack that was minus 9 on block, which I thought was completely fine. It's also a counter hit launcher. Again, completely fine in my opinion. They nerfed that because now it's minus 10 on block, and you might not think that's a big nerf because it's only 1 frame. But I'm showing you here in the background, there's a decent amount of characters in the game that have very solid 10 frame punishers. So that is honestly a very big nerf in my humble opinion. And I don't really understand why they did. I don't think they needed to do that. I think it being minus 9 on block was completely fine. And I think it was good that she had a move that kind of, check your opponent and still be safe on block, especially since she had 2 moves that were highs and you could step the mid. So in my opinion, it was fine, but is what it is. They also nerfed her overall damage. I'm showing you some of the moves on the screen right now that were nerfed. Now, I'm not showing you all of them because they did do a lot. I guess they thought her damage was too high. Her 3-2 combo damage was pretty crazy, but I think I only cared about the fact that if I read correctly, I couldn't punish the 3-2. That was really my issue, and now I can do that. So some of the nerfs to her damage I think might have been overkill, maybe not. Honestly though, guys, at the end of the day, Lidia was not top 5 to me in my opinion, and she wasn't bottom 5 before this patch. Obviously she's been nerfed, so she's still not top 5 to me after this patch, but she's still not bottom 5 to me. She still seems like a solid mid-tier character. I could be wrong about that. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts. If you feel like the nerfs were too much or you feel like she needed them, please post in the comments below. If you guys like this content, please consider liking, subscribing. All support, as I always say, is greatly appreciated. This is Acidlite. You guys take care.